What up? What up? You know what time it is. It's RJ Fantasy Football Talk, and we back in this week 10, and we talking. It's 4 weeks left. We still can make a run. I'm riding. This is Jay. What's going on, man?
What's going on is that you, sir, are Judas. I
Wait a minute.
yes,
What did
I'm,
I
I'm
do?
start. I'm coming gunning from you at the beginning of the show, top of the
Wait.
hour.
What I
Yo,
do?
let me set the well. First of all, let me tell y'all, hey, thanks for joining in. We appreciate y'all being part of the show. But I just want to tell you about this guy that's beside me and the wicked and evil things he did to me today. I've been
What
telling
I
y'all.
do?
I've been telling y'all since the season started about my one team in this gridiron two quarterback league that is yet winless, 0-10. I've had a lot of
Okay.
close
Talk to the people.
games where I almost won. This week,
Okay.
I had a guaranteed victory coming up in
Okay.
week 11, right? I had a guy, it's two quarterback league. This guy had one quarterback. He put in a whatever. So he was going to end up starting Cooper Rush and Drake May as his two quarterbacks. He had no tight end, no wide receiver, was missing the running back. His team was in chaos. This
Okay.
brother, who calls himself my brother, made not one but two trades with him today. Two trades with this guy to give him everything he needs to try to beat me. Now in this league, Rodney is number one, and the guy he's trading with is number four. I'm the loaded guy at the bottom who can't win a game, and they're conspiring against me. It's collusion, it's evil, and it's wrong. And if you're watching RJ Fantasy Football Talk, put in the chat that Rodney is indeed Judas. Or if you want to side with him, you can let us know that too. But he's
Oh
Judas.
wow, he called you Judas.
He is Judas, and he is
Wow.
Judas.
I'm trying to figure out what. Hold
But
up.
Wow.
First of all,
no,
he
no,
is
no, no.
telling
You,
you.
you don't get a
Wow.
chance to defend yourself.
He
Wow.
is. Hold on.
You're,
Hold
you're,
on.
you're, you're an
He is
evil
telling the
person
story all
who's
wrong,
hating
dog.
on me for all I've done. For all I've done for him out of the heart, goodness of my heart.
Yo, hold
But
on. Wait
anyway,
a minute.
aside from
Wait
that,
a minute.
Judas, I went 3-6 in my fantasy football league, so it was not a
Uh,
great week for me. And Rodney made it even worse. But go ahead, try to
well,
defend yourself to America. America's listening.
first of all, I
Judas.
went 3-3 this week. I don't count my tanking league, so I'm gonna say I went 3-3. Um, but I hold up. First of all, that's not even how it happened.
Judas.
I was minding my business, like
Uh,
I always do, at work, and I was minding my business, and I got a text. Hey, Rodney, good morning. I sent you a text. I sent you a trade. I said, okay, all right, I check it out. So I checked it out, and first thing I did was, 'cause, this is my brother right here beside me.
I thought I was, but
I
continue.
said, hold up, I sent it to him. I said, yo, you see this? And he know what I meant when I said you see this because it was from a certain person because this person always trade. I was like, you see this? He was like, I like to trade for what you're getting, but what he didn't understand it was for the league that we're in that he's trying to get a win. He didn't figure that out until hours later for some reason. I don't know
Because I
why.
figured, why would my brother be conspiring against me? I thought it
It,
was in a dynasty league we were in. I did not know that this was the Yahoo League. But continue trying to defend
so
yourself.
so
By
I
the way,
was I
welcome
was
Lily
not
Lewis to the show, who also calls you Judas. She might be a little biased.
so I
But
was not I was not conspiring.
yeah.
So basically, I got sent a fair trade. This guy sent me, but honestly, I feel like I helped you because I stripped this team down pretty bad.
I'm not making the
Like,
playoffs. Do I care if you strip this
so
team down?
and I would give y'all a trade. I mean, like I'm gonna be upfront, but because over there my team is kind of amazing. Just to be truly honest with you, my team is fully loaded from top to bottom.
Uh-huh.
But the first trade was C.D. Lamb, Bucky Irving, Mac Jones, and he wanted Pacheco, Myers, and who was the quarterback? Will
Uh,
Levis.
yeah.
So I sent it to him. He was like, that C.D. Lamb trade, I would take C.D. Lamb in the trade. I was like, okay, I'm looking at it. I said, all right, I'm going to take it. Then he sent me a second trade, which I've been wanting to get rid of this guy for probably 3, 4 weeks now. I had Aaron Rodgers, and I wanted to get rid of him and give me something else. And he sent me another trade, which I was like, all right, cool. it was from Rodgers and Nick Chubb, and he gave me Baker Mayfield, who's the number 2 rated quarterback in the fantasy football world now, and Sam Laporta. So basically, I got back. I kind of stripped him down. He's getting a broke down Aaron Rodgers who ain't gonna put up no more than like 30, and he still can beat him. So I don't understand what the problem is. I made my team even better than it was, and I helped him out by stripping him of the team that the guy he's playing.
Welcome, Catherine Bracey, to the show.
I understand what the
Good
problem
to have
is.
you here in Atlanta. If you're just joining in, Rodney's trying to defend himself because I do claim that he's Judas. I do claim he colluded against his own brother.
That's not collusion.
You're saying all this stuff of what you did to strip his team down.
So let me ask you. Hold up.
Yeah.
So how much does that help my team?
It helps your team a lot, but at any moment when you are helping your team that you think, man, my brother on the show can't seem to win a game. He keeps getting defied by the craziest of odds. No matter how many games I'm projected to win, I keep losing. Did it ever occur to you, this is his best shot at a win this season. Maybe I should not make this trade and forget about myself, but look to my brother and give him a hand.
Did that even cross your mind? I mean, but you should be fine because Cooper Rush is going to get benched at some point. So it doesn't even matter. He's going to get benched Monday night, probably the second quarter, and you're going to win. So I'm calling it now. So I don't think it matters.
How did your fantasy?
I don't.
You told us. Let's bring in the producer. Producer, how did your fantasy teams do this week?
Oh, wow. I get right in on this moment.
Yeah, because I'm done listening to his excuses.
I'm just saying. I will say this, though.
Okay.
Before you go ahead, Sydney, you got.
No, go on and do your last plea because I'm curious to hear before I get to talking. Go ahead.
I just want to say this: they might as well make room for the championship because that team over there, boy, woo!
Oh, selfish. Only thinking about
loaded. That team is loaded over there.
Anyway.
Man, I'm just saying, scary days are coming. I'm just saying, scary days are coming.
Producer.
I'm making a trade now while we're talking.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well.
Keep talking. I'm on the trade.
Hello, all
you
those out there in YouTube world. I did horrible. I didn't win anything. So, yeah. Who's next?
Well, I
I did win in hockey though.
There we go. So there's something there. So
yeah, but as far as football's concerned,
football wasn't the week.
It could chuck it because I won nothing.
Okay, check it. I can dig that.
Well, let us know out in the audience how your week went, and also we're still doing the poll on whether Rodney is a Judas or not. I'm pretty sure he is, but we'll let you all put in your opinions. We also have some questions for Judas. Who are you starting this week? C.J. Stroud or Tua?
C.J. Stroud. He get back. He get his top receiver back. He get Nico back, and I think he goes back to normal. I think C.J. Stroud by the second half of the season. Well, I ain't gonna say second half, but I guess you want to say second half.
It's roughly for the NFL. Second half.
He about to get right because Nico back. Because the thing is, when you have, and I like Tank Dell, I do, but Tank Dell played well the last 2 games, but Tank Dell is not your typical. I don't think he's a 1.
He's definitely not. I agree with you.
I will say he's maybe a high level 2 with a high level 1 there in Nico Collins. So for me, getting Nico Collins back is going to help Tank Dell a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I think which in turn is going to help CJ because CJ has his reliable receiver back, which I think is going to be great. I think he's going to go on a stretch where he going to do well. And the thing is, Tua, man, I just want to say this. Tua crazy because I don't know if y'all seen last week. He threw an interception and he went to try to tackle the guy head first.
Head first, exactly.
He don't learn. He don't learn.
I just don't understand the logic behind the stuff he does. I feel like, and I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like he's trying to die on the field. because it don't make sense. Even if you just clip him or something, do something other than trying to tackle him head first, because to me it's just you trying to hurt yourself, man. And then if I promise you, if he gets another concussion, the league might not let him back in, bro. Just for their own safety, because if he die on the field, bro, that's the last thing somebody want, man.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I was actually going to ask you about that when we got to the news portions, but let's hit it now. There was in the press conference, Tua basically just says he doesn't want to be known as like the poster child for concussions. We all want to be great
What?
players, and
Too late for that.
and I was going to relate that to that very play that you spoke on, and ask you, what do you what do you think about that comment about his play with that tackle?
Retarded.
And I'm with you. I'm like I don't understand knowing the serious concussions that he suffered. I'm not going head first. Look, you got healthy quarterbacks who don't make they don't try to make
No.
tackles at all, even
It,
if they throw an interception.
I
But definitely
mean,
not
run
going head first. But
like fake run like you want to actually tackle him,
yeah.
but don't try to tackle, because that's what most quarterbacks do.
Yeah,
They would
you
try to
get just
run
enough in the way for the real players to come and
to
tackle
tackle.
him for you, right?
I just don't understand the logic. I mean, think about it this way, all right?
Yeah,
If he passes out on the field, say he get a concussion and is the worst, right? And again, I'm not trying to put this on him. I'm just speaking in logical terms that it could happen to him because he puts himself in harm's way all the time. Now, if he does this, the family is going to want to sue the NFL. But again, he did that. You can't sue somebody when it's on film. Like when he does something like that,
this is America, brother. You can always sue.
I
Yeah,
mean, you
they
can,
still
but
they
what I'm
still
saying
can
is,
sue.
if you plan that sport
Yeah.
and you put yourself in harm's way when you could have got out of the way, you can't really. You have no gripe to say, well, but he had 4 concussions, 5 concussions. He shouldn't have been out there.
Yeah.
He should have been. He should have been out there this year. Like he should have set out the rest of the year. To be honest with you, I think you don't want to be the poster child for that. You want to be alive to see your kids grow up, bro.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
So, but
What about that?
But I'm with you. For one, I still don't understand how he's not wearing the protective cover over his
Right.
helmet. But hey,
Right.
these guys make the choices they make. They get millions of dollars in compensation for the bodily harm. So for him, I guess it's worth it because, like he says, he wants to be a great player, and I wish him well. But I'm with you. I seriously question some of the decisions he made. But welcome Nita to the show as well. So we got the Georgia contingent coming in. We have another question I want to get to before we move more. And this is for another team. Chuba Hubbard is on bye. It says that you use Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara, and Derrick Henry.
You only can use one, right?
I'm wondering about that because unless I'm mistaken it right, I was looking at this particular team because I was a step ahead, and I was like, I know this question is gonna come up because I noticed that Chuba Hubbard was I know this person obviously, and so I was looking at their team just to see, what to do.
Oh,
and
now she's calling you Judas.
Oh,
Yeah.
Judas? Oh. Well, I was waiting for how long she would take to notice that. We'll get to me being Judas in a second, because I could be one as well, but not as bad as Rodney, who is the Judas for the night. For those that join in there late, I get to that story. I tell that story again in part. But let's get to this particular team. You don't have the only decision you really have to, you're of course gonna play Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara every week, right? But I believe if I saw this situation right, the only thing you really need to do for this is substitute Ramondre Stevenson in for Chuba Hubbard, because I don't think either one of us are gonna bench Alvin Kamara or Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, no.
Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong. But I did look at this. This is, I think, the Comedy Club. By the way, if you're in Atlanta, Uptown Comedy Club, uh, go there, have a good time, have a good laugh. But yeah, I know this. I know this situation, and the only thing you got to worry about is substitute Chuba with Ramondre Stevenson, because either one of those players have very similar numbers for the season. So thanks for the question again. Now, why am I Judas? You might ask.
Yeah, I want to know why. What you do now?
This was a bizarre situation. Uptown Comedy Club again, by the way. I played my mom in this league. She's number one in that division because she watches RJ Fantasy Football Talk live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern. I'm number two in that division, and we played each other this past week. And she had a considerable lead over me. In fact, ESPN had projected her to win by like 92% to 8. And then Sam Laporta happened the other night. He had a good game, and the funny part is the producer and I had assured her that she's going to win. When the projections get to 90%, there's pretty much nothing the other person can do. True. But this time it didn't happen that way. So I did beat her in the Comedy Club League. But, we had the same record. It's all good. It's no problem. No need to concern yourself. This is the last 4 weeks of the regular season in fantasy football. You are definitely making the playoffs in that league. But we want to give some advice tonight to those who maybe don't have the records quite as good. Maybe you've been like 50-50. Can you come back and win in these last 4 weeks? Or maybe you're 3-7. Can you still come back and make a playoff push? The answer to that is going to be yes. And hopefully we'll give you some ideas. If you're in that situation, let us know. We'll try to give you a hand. I found it funny, though, because we was watching some NFL games this week. In fact, going back to the Dolphins, it was with their terrible – they won now their third game. And they were asking about their playoff chances. And they say, hey, I like our odds. So if they can have that kind of faith in their teams, then yes, you should have faith in yours. So you can still do some damage. And even if you're like me, who's 0-10, can't win a game, and your own brother Judas came out against you and set you up for the okie doke, you're not going to make the playoffs if you have a really bad record like that, but you can spoil other people's fun. I was watching Max Crosby for the Raiders, and he says that's their goal for the rest of the season, is just to ruin everybody else's. So I'm 0-10, but I'm trying to ruin some playoff teams' chances and give them some losses. I'm not going out without a fight. Despite my brother.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not. Look, you can call me a Judas all you want to. I'm still gonna love you at the end of the day. So it don't even matter. But I'm just telling you, like, I had to make my team better than what it was. I mean, it's a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I needed some pieces to be moved, and I ain't done yet. But I think you still can win. I think you still can run some playoff chances. I talked to one league member, and he told me I'm playing him this week. He said, man, I'm looking past you because I ain't got no chance of beating you with your roster. I was like, that could be true. He said, I don't understand why y'all keep.
See how the situation is really about me, and he brings it right back to himself. And just for the record, that person that you're talking to, I hope he's watching, because he's a Judas too. Because I put in the chat the evilness and the collusion that Rodney was doing with this guy in the league.
Oh my goodness! It is you need to rename the show Judas Night.
Judas show. So, but the funny part is, I put in the chat, our league chat, and this guy was agreeing with me that what these two guys were doing was evil. And then this person goes and makes another trade. So the person I'm playing this week has made 3 trades in one day to be the 0-10 team. I hope. But
honestly, I feel like the trades he made weakened his team. What he gave up did not make sense. I feel like this person does this all the time. We seen him change his whole team for 1 week, and he did it basically this week. He traded away most of his good players this week, and it's not going to make a difference.
He made some serious trades to be number 4 in the league. I don't really understand why he did as much. I can see making a trade, but 3 trades in a day, that's kind of overboard. But And
then what's crazy about it is he sent me a trade in the church league.
Oh, word.
He was
Well,
making trades over there.
this guy has, and if you're out there and you're playing fantasy football, you probably have people like this in your leagues too. But his motto is, if you're not trading, you're not trying. And I think
That
he's
is his
gonna
motto.
break the fantasy football Guinness record for trades made in a season because he's been trading since.
Woo.
Because he's in our dynasty league too. He's been trading since before the season starts. I think we need to have some sort of trade limit for this
Right.
guy.
I look. I didn't expect today I was gonna roll with the team I had this week, but look, he came calling.
Enough about
And
you. You're boring.
but I'm just saying you
No.
can't be mad at me. And I hope you get a win. I hope you get a win this week. I do.
No, you don't. You don't care. You don't love me.
He's gonna
But-
hold this grudge
Don't
for
be
a
like that.
while. So
Yeah, I'm the producer's right. I'm gonna hold this against you. The rest. If I lose this week, expect me to call you every day this week.
Never hear the
blaming
end of
you for my loss.
I'm gonna call you myself and say, look, man, that was a good victory, man. I tell you.
you know
Woo.
this man's petty over here, like super petty. So please let him win, because if he does not, wow.
It's gonna be on. But enough about me. Let's do some NFL news. What do you got for the people?
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, oh man, this guy, man, I tell you, he said he has a desire to play next year. Now, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna need you
to
take several seats, sir, because you, at the end of the day, are not really good anymore. You was good back in your time. We're gonna give you that. I give you grace. You was good back then.
Multiple
But, sir,
MVPs.
yes, I give you that. Super Bowl.
One
yes,
Super Bowl.
One Super Bowl. But sir, I'm gonna need you to sit down because you cannot move. You can't like you're a shell of yourself, and you don't have the arm strength to really get the ball down the field anymore. So it's like, I don't understand if you're trying to hold on to some type of glory that you had.
These Tom Brady numbers, right? He wants
But
to say
you-
he was
but-
in
but-
there. I think he wants to hit 20 years. I don't think he really should, but
But you ever heard of this thing of you stay too long? When you stay too long in something, you look bad. He's staying too long, and it's like you got to give it to the young man now. At some point, you got to go sit down, bro, and say, you know what? Maybe my time ain't here no more. And if I'm the Jets, and I'm hearing this, I'm like, oh gosh, because this is what he did in Green Bay.
yeah.
I'm drafting a quarterback if I'm the Jets now, and I'm pushing him out because that's the way you get him out. Because Aaron Rodgers got to be pushed out. He's not going to leave on his own. So, because Green Bay pushed him out. So you got to push him out. So for me, I think it's just crazy. He's about to be 42 years old. And every time you get hit, it look like you can't get up. So at some point, you got to just acknowledge that, man, I got to go.
I'm gonna give. By the way, last week we were endorsing, or rather, I was endorsing Aaron Rodgers.
You were, not me.
Cayenne
Yeah, you
Water.
were, not me.
If you watched the Jets this past week, that Cayenne Water wore off.
Didn't work.
Something awful. So we are no longer endorsing Rodgers Cayenne Water on this show. It has proved itself to be ineffective when he needed it most. But in his semi-defense, I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers is still coming off, though he claims to have the miracle healing powers. He's coming off a serious injury from a year ago. I'm not surprised that he looks slow because, like you said, he's a year older. And that thing really takes some time to heal. But at his age, look, I tell you, because I'm older. At some point, your body ain't gonna bounce back like it did in the 20s. And so, from that injury, I would not expect to see that mobile Aaron Rodgers again. Whether he decides to come back or not, they have a really serious decision to make on what they want to do with that. I would do something like you said, and let's draft the future because Aaron Rodgers ain't it, and that Jets team window will close on them if they're gonna stay with that same quarterback situation. I don't think it.
I just feel like they have to do something because granted they got to pay him next year. Whether I guess whether he retire or not, it's got to be some way they can get out of the contract. But I don't know how to get out of the contract. I think they still owe him another 40, 50 million. Yes, it's a high number, but it's got to be a way of getting out of it. And somebody, like, honestly, for me, in an organization, somebody need to sit down and talk to him and say, look,
Okay.
Aaron, we like you, we do, but we got to move forward with
Yeah.
something different.
E-
And
Even if they bring
Aaron
him
can
back,
play.
I'm with you. They need to start, like you said, looking towards the future.
Yeah,
'Cause-
it just makes more sense. But I don't know. I just think it's crazy. I don't know. You can't heal like even I'm 40. I'm about to be 42, and things hurt where like my legs hurt. I wake up in the morning, I'm hurting. I don't know where it came from. It's just old age creeps up on you, and at some point you have to say, "Hey, it's cool." I did. I made my money. I mean, he ain't got no kids, and I think that's part of it. He ain't got nothing to go home
he
to.
got-
He ain't got nothing to go home to. So
he said
probably
he's
ain't got no
bored. He
kids.
needs to work.
Yeah, he ain't got no kids. He ain't got no girlfriend. He ain't got no wife. So he ain't got nothing to share it with. So it's like at the end of the day, all he want to do is play football, which is fine. But at some point, you got to go home, bro. You got to go home at some point. So
Father Time is certainly undefeated, so we'll see.
yes,
But we did find out again this week that the miracle cayenne water does not
it
work.
ain't working.
It does not work. Welcome, Carla, to the show. Good to have you with us.
That darn cayenne water.
Yeah, it looked like it was gonna be good.
That carry way.
Yo,
No, you made that.
this looks
You
like
caught,
I
you
think
caught
I
that
talk
up.
about thanks for the loss. Apparently, everybody is airing out their grievances
Ooh,
this week,
dang.
and rightfully so. By the way, Carla, you missed the beginning of the show. Rodney is Judas. I tell you all about it again later in the show.
Oh, okay.
He did me wrong.
I told you he's petty.
I'm
He's
petty.
going to repeat this.
I'm gonna look that I should have made the whole name of the show Rodney is Judas. But we want to help you guys out that's out there with this final play. We have 4 weeks before the playoffs start. So if you have questions, if you're on that edge where you could go either way, and you have some questions on maybe some trades you should make to make your team better, not at the expense of your so-called brother, let us know. We'll be glad to help you guys out with that as well. Here's another news story. And I bring this up because Carla's joining with us. My family, not me. I didn't get an invite, but that's cool. My parents.
Dang, what? This really needs to be called the I'm throwing shade in everybody under the bus show.
I'm bringing the shade for the whole world tonight.
Dang.
Wow.
But
Yo,
anyway,
he was like, I didn't get an invite. I'm cool with that though.
Ouch.
But my parents went to see the Steelers and Commanders game, and Carla, I know you're happy because the Steelers had that miracle come from behind win out there. Russell Wilson is looking pretty decent. I mean, it's the team and the defense around him, but they did his thing. What do you think about that game? Did you see any of that?
I watched it.
Yeah.
It was a good game, and when we get to my list, I'll get to you on that.
Oh,
But
okay.
I want to say, Russ playing well. Russ is playing well.
Russ is playing much better than I anticipated, and I'm happy
And
for him.
maybe he got some juice we can endorse that making him play a little bit better. Holler at us, Russ. We here.
He does
We
have
will,
some product. Maybe I should switch from the Rogers cayenne water to whatever Russell Wilson
maybe
has.
that's. I mean, we may need to go that route, but Russ holler as we will. Shout out some sponsors. We need that. What I'm just saying, like he playing good, and I at first I was kind of on the fence with them going to him, but I see what a difference it makes.
Working out.
I mean, my boy Pickens is playing well, and he putting up numbers, so I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Now going forward, is he the future? That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one there. What is he, 34 now?
Yeah, something like that. I feel
34. He's 34, 35, one of them. Do you give him money, a bunch of money now at that age to be that quarterback?
They're playing for free this
Yeah,
year.
but you got to pay him next year.
Because Denver's paying his salary. But next year, you have to make a decision. I do not give him the kind of contract that Denver gave him. because they still have Justin Fields on that team who did not play badly when he was there. So I would try to see what you could get because I still stand by. I think Russell Wilson's best games are behind him, and you don't want to be
Mm.
in an Aaron Rodgers like situation, paying the guy too many millions of dollars for poor performance. I think
Well,
I think the Steelers are a good team for Russell Wilson, and I
yeah,
see like I said, Najee Harris gave her a scare. Yeah, I got my man Najee. He fell underneath 100 yards for the first time, but he did get a touchdown for
yeah.
fantasy football. I appreciate that from him. But if I'm the Steelers, and I would say the Steelers are, and I've said this before, one of the best run organizations in the NFL. I can't see them tying themselves down with some sort of long term contract for Russell Wilson. So
Well, but what route do you go then? I mean, because both of them are pretty much free agents this year,
yeah,
so you're gonna have to decide on one of them. And I don't see them going in the draft because I don't think it's many good quarterbacks coming out this year. I know Ward is coming out. Is it Cam Ward?
yeah,
Cam
Cam
Ward
Moore from Miami,
from Miami, and then Shador,
who
but
by
they're
the
gonna
way
be
lost
top.
to Georgia Tech recently.
Oh,
I just want to throw
Yes.
that out there.
oh,
More shade.
yeah.
Lord, the boy, the
As it
shade tonight.
continues.
Now, I don't know. I just feel like, and I don't think there's a quarterback on the market outside of
Mm-hmm.
those two that's going to be on the market from them that they can go get that's going to make them better. Now,
Yeah,
it's because if you give Russ the money, you're gonna have to give him at least 30 million, and that's on a minimum
that's yeah. I
scale.
would say that's probably low.
But that's on a minimum scale.
Yeah,
The minimum scale you got to give. Now with Justin Fields, you probably can go a little around the 20 to $25 million a year scale,
mm-hmm.
but you got to trust him to throw the ball. You got to open it up a little bit more because I feel like they open it up a lot more when Russ got there, as far as throwing the ball down the field. So I don't know. It's just gotta let that play out. Now, if they make a deep playoff run, which is possible, and go to the playoffs like that, they might stick with Russ.
I could. I mean, if they make a deep playoff because they that if you remember in the off season, I said with the acquisitions Pittsburgh made, that's going to go either really well or really
Mm-hmm.
poorly. I was
Yeah,
leaning towards the poorly, but obviously that's not the case. It's going
that
really
ain't the
well.
case.
I don't know if they can beat like the Chiefs or the Bills in the playoffs, but they definitely are going to give them a run for the money. And we'll find out what they do against the Ravens this week.
Yeah,
They're going to be contending. And so, if they do make a deep push in the playoffs, I think that increases the chances that they do give Russell Wilson that kind of contract. By the
we'll
way,
see.
looking it up, he's 35 right now. So,
So that's what I'm saying. If you
he's,
give him a 2 year deal, I feel like you're going backwards. Unless you just if you plan on giving him a 2 year deal, but also bringing back Justin Fields on another deal,
yeah.
slightly
You could
similar,
probably
slightly
sign,
less.
yeah, you could probably sign Justin Fields for a smaller contract since if he's still the backup. You might be able to
Yeah,
pull
and
it
make
off.
him the make him the backup, but guarantee that Russ is still the starter. Give Russ a little bit more money and get Justin Fields, and you still that's your quarterback room for the next 2 3 years. And in the case something happen, you have both of those guys there. So
Okay.
that's what
Well,
I would say. But I think
Well,
that's
let's
kind of
let's
crazy.
get to this question. By the way, what's up, Justin? I see you there. And NCAA 25 says that someone's offered him a huge trade to give up Saquon, AJ Brown, and Brock Bowers for CMC, Nico Collins, and Jalen Waddle, Mark Andrews. That's a lot of. That
No,
is a big trade. It's a lot of players involved. A lot of
no,
moving pieces. What do you think about that one?
no.
Por
First
que
of
no?
all, I'm saying no. I'm not giving up Saquon, AJ Brown, Brock Bowers. First of all, that's
Mm-hmm.
just not happening. Um, before love CMC came
Mm-hmm.
back. Uh, Nico Collins, love Nico. The biggest problem with this trade is Jalen Waddle,
Mm-hmm.
who hasn't lived up. And Jalen Waddle is a good receiver. It could be just his quarterback hasn't been there. And Mark Andrews is playing better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it because I feel like you get more from Saquon, you get more from AJ Brown, and you definitely get more from Brock because he's the only thing they have out
He's the
there in
best
Vegas.
tight end in the NFL right now.
So you give. I feel like you're giving up way too much, but you could get that back in CMC and Nico.
Hmm.
But Jalen Waddle kind of throws this trade off a little bit. I feel like you're losing something because Jalen Waddle's not picking up what AJ Brown is picking up. And if you need a tight end, maybe that's why he's going a direction for Mark Andrews. But I ain't doing that.
I'm with you. I don't make this trade for a lot of the same reasons because everything you're getting in this trade, you pretty much already have.
Yeah,
Because CMC, he had a better first game back than I thought he would. I thought he would be good, but they went. I said last week I wouldn't give him more than 15 touches. They went a little bit
they gave
above
him
that. I think they had like 17 or
20,
something. Huh?
20,
20.
20.
So he had 20 total touches in that game. Um, uh, Looked good. No doubt about that. But Saquon
Yeah,
Barkley has looked good all season.
yeah.
AJ Brown, Nico Collins, I call that a straw as well. And honestly, I probably like AJ Brown a little bit more. Uh, uh, it's close between those two, but
And Brock is better
but
than Mark.
but
Mark
and
Andrews right now.
then it comes down to like you said. So if the quarterback, I mean, if the running back and the wide receivers kind of balance themselves off, it's basically do you want Brock Bowers or Mark
For
Andrews
Mark
and Jalen
Andrews.
Waddle? And I'm with you. I'm going Brock Bowers with that one because, like you said, Jalen Waddle has not produced this season, and Mark Andrews, though he's gotten, but he's had a difficult season, and you can't really. For me, as good as a season as Lamar Jackson is having, you can't quite count on that consistent production from anybody except maybe Zay Flowers, um,
Yeah.
who's been the most consistent guy. So for me, I love the consistency I've seen from the players you already have with Saquon, AJ Brown, and Brock Bowers. So I don't do that
Yeah.
trade, especially if I'm already winning. I'm not trying to mess up stuff. Like my man across from me, who's number one and still decided to make a whole bunch of trades. But that's another story for another time. Hey,
Yeah.
going back to Justin, welcome again. Who do you like, Jalen Warren or Rico Dowdle?
Ooh, that's a tough one there. I'm gonna say just because Dallas don't know what they're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm gonna go Jalen Warner, but I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
just say Rico. Rico's a really good play. He's a good running back,
Yeah.
but I just feel like what they're doing now in Dallas, it doesn't benefit him because they're bringing in Zeke. Zeke is fumbling. They're bringing Zeke back in, and Zeke is not. It's just too much going on, and Cooper Rush is not going to help the situation
Mm-hmm.
at all because it's Cooper Rush. So I'm gonna go Jalen Warner just because I think that's right now a better situation. So I wouldn't go Rico.
You know my love of Najee Harris. He's
Mm.
going to get the bulk of the carries. But if you watch the game last week, they gave Jalen Warren quite a bit of
Mm-hmm.
touches since he's been back from his injury. Um, I like him. I'm trying to think for this particular week. The question is this question for the whole season or just? I'm assuming it's just for this week. For the
This week,
season, for the season, I'm definitely Jalen Warren. For this week against the Texans, I might say Dowdle, um, because I think he has the better opportunities. The Steelers are going to have a very good matchup this week. I would
I just
anticipate
feel
this is
like
not a
they're gonna
high
get down.
scoring game, and in that case, I think I go with Rico Dowdle because I think the score in that game is probably going to be higher and maybe more opportunities for a player getting some successful fantasy points for you.
I mean, if you're saying Rico, I would say Rico. I would say no to Rico just because of the fact of
Mm-hmm.
if they get if the game get out of hand, which is possible for the game to get out of hand, they gonna Rico. Yes, is the better person for that comeback, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
even gonna be doing that to be honest with you because they got
Yeah,
blown out last week, and you see how they did that. Rico was not involved last week, and they
yeah,
was getting blown out the doors. So
yeah. That they they end up having to pass quite a bit because they lose a lot. And but I say this. with the number of turnovers the Cowboys, and I want to ask you in the news about the Cowboys as well while we're on the subject. But with the number of turnovers Cooper Rush and Trey Lance combined for, mainly Cooper Rush, I
Yes.
would be running that ball as much as possible. I know that might be difficult against the Texans this week, but I try my best not to have those guys passing the ball.
I mean, but that's a team, that's a Houston defense that's coming off getting 5 interceptions.
Yeah,
So you're right about that. I agree with you on that. And Cooper Rush was throwing 2 yard passes when it was 3rd and 16.
yeah.
So I don't
Cooper Rush is
understand.
not good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, you want to run the ball, but you gotta play action. You gotta do something to, because all they're gonna do. Okay, if that's the case, they're gonna stack the box, 8 in the box. We know y'all running the ball. We're gonna make
yeah.
Cooper Rush beat us. Cooper Rush ain't throwing the ball but 2 yards. So either way you look at it, it doesn't even matter. So it's like I'd rather go with a guy that I know and Warren, who could possibly get 8 to 10 carries in that game and do something with those 8 to 10 carries. To me, that's a far conclusion. I'm going Warren. Rico,
No.
they would have to show me something different this week to make me say, you know what, I should have went. I'm gonna go Rico next week. Nah, Rico's off the radar right now. The only person that in Dallas that should be playing right now is CD
CD
Lamb.
Lamb.
That's the only one.
Yeah. I see Justice that he's projected to win this week by 22 points.
That just don't mean nothing.
So, hey, we had to talk about projections earlier. They can lead you astray. But thanks for the question.
Yeah, don't mean
Appreciate it. Welcome, Atlanta Flag Football Podcast to the show. Good to have you. We have Atlanta in the house tonight. As always, appreciate you all being part of the show. We mentioned the Uptown Comedy Club earlier in the show. If you're down in Atlanta, hit that up. But also the Atlanta Flag Football Podcast and Classic Conversations. All good things to find on YouTube. Welcome Overcone to the show as well. Here's the question. Hey, dudes, thanks for the content. Do you happen to know if the Tyreek and Kamara hand injuries are similar? Worried about Hill and Kamara seems to be just juggernauting through it. What do you think?
I think Kamara is fine. I don't think it's the same.
Yeah, I don't think either one is that serious. But since we're talking about it, did you see the Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham Jr. Touchdown celebration?
Yes.
Looking out at WWE.
Wow. That's all Odell good for now anyway. So.
I was looking somewhere. Someone said Odell has more touchdown celebrations than actual catches in the league, and obviously they're not his touchdowns. So that he's a cheerleader.
Oh, your mama's going in on you, boy.
Man,
she's going in. Yo.
That's the projection conversation we had earlier.
Yeah,
she was projected to beat me, and I came back and beat her by 2 points. Hey, miracles happen. I don't even know how to explain what went down, but went down. But thanks, Overcome, for the question. Keep following, of course. Usually Friday you get better ideas about injuries, but I don't think either one of those injuries are that serious. I mentioned I wanted to ask you something about the Cowboys. I forgot for a second. And you mentioned CeeDee Lamb's the only guy you should play. I'm sure you saw the issue with the windows at at Jerry World at their stadium.
I seen that too.
He blamed the sun being in his eyes and unable to see. So they asked him if they should put up curtains in the stadium, and his quote was 1,000% yes, they should. To which
how
Jerry
about
Jones
just close the ceiling? Just close it.
Well, it's on the wall. It's not above.
Oh, it's on the wall.
Window.
Okay.
It's like on the side.
Okay.
Facing the end zone that he was catching from. So he said 1,000% they should put up curtains, which those would be some really. If you've seen that stadium, that would be some really big curtains. But Jerry Jones laughed it off, said, "No, why don't we just tear down the whole stadium and build a new one?" So I don't think Jerry Jones is going to support getting curtains. Is that window? I don't know if you've seen the picture of the window, but it was quite a glare coming off of it. Was CeeDee Lamb just making up excuses for why he missed it, or do you think the window?
I don't understand. I know it's small, but Jerry's wild, bro. because Jerry, it's like he's his own nightmare when it comes to this team this year. He says in Jerry's in his 80s, 85,
Yeah.
86. Jerry saying things that like it started from the beginning of the year. We got a Super Bowl team, or we all in now, and you ain't made one move to suggest that you're all in. I just don't understand Jerry's logic this year on certain things. Even with getting Dak the contract late, it's just he's making major mistakes
Mm.
this year. He needs to hand it over to somebody that can talk for him and run the team and do something because Jerry just ain't cutting it, bro. He ain't cutting
Yeah.
it. But
Well,
it's Jerry's world though.
well, they're all in, um, whatever that means, based on the moves they did.
Can't be, bro. Can't
But
be.
maybe you missed last week when we talked about the Jonathan Mingo signing. So
That
they,
was I was here.
I know, right?
I'm just saying. I was here. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Since this is Shade Night, we're throwing shade at everyone. Jasper Lewis the
Shade night.
senior, talking about there's some Russ haters out there. The future's down, so let Russ cook. Hey, Russ has been cooking. I'm not a hater. I give mad props for what he's accomplished. But going forward, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing really bad you can say about the way he's played this year.
He's playing good. I'm not saying he did, but at some point you don't want to get stuck.
Yeah, and I think that's more of the question. Looking forward, how much you invest in him versus the younger Justin Fields on that team. It's a question that they will find out. What about next year? I know I'm getting ahead of ourselves. Is Russell Wilson on your radar? Because I don't think you have him in any league. Well, you have him in one, the Dynasty League.
No.
But no.
I mean, no.
Russell will not be on your radar for next year?
Nah. Yeah, I'm trying to win championships, Just saying, man.
Let's hit some of these other questions while we out here. So maybe a little bit of Russell Wilson hate from this side of the camera.
I guess if you want to say that.
Bit.
Okay.
Jameson Williams or Javonte for this week? PPR.
Jameson Williams. Javonte about to lose his job.
Yeah. That was going to be my comment. I was like, I am 100% Jameson Williams. Look, as long as he's not out gambling or using PEDs, Jameson Williams is a good guy to have in your lineup. Javonte, not so much.
He about to lose his job to like a rookie or something.
He's about to be worse than the backup.
Yeah, he got one carry last week.
Yeah,
so
he is an afterthought in that offense.
Yeah.
We had such high hopes, I think, in fantasy football for him coming out of college. He has not lived up to the hype, like even a little bit. Justin has this matchup. This is the one he was up 22, projected for 22. He has Hurts, Stevenson, Rico Dowdle, AJ Brown, Puka, Devontae Adams, TJ Hawkinson, Minnesota defense going against Josh Allen, who has a really good game against the Chiefs. That one's always good. He has Cooks. I lost my spot. Jones. That presumably would be Jake. No. Jones. I'm assuming we're at
He's got to be a receiver.
Yeah. Jones, Gabe Davis, DJ Moore, Ray McLeod, Laporta, and the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I would be very wary of them playing the Kansas City Chiefs defense this week.
Yeah, I think he gets the win. The only person I think ain't nobody scared of Gabe Davis. DJ Moore seemed like he can't get right for some reason.
Oh, there's a reason DJ Moore can't get right.
We ain't gonna talk about that. Don't get
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones. Yeah. Aaron Jones and James Cook.
I mean, Aaron Jones, he should win because his receiving core is really good. He got Hurts and Stevenson, so he should win. I just feel the team he's playing, DJ Moore, is something. It ain't him.
Yeah.
It ain't him.
On that
Gabe
situation,
Davis,
The Bears are their coach. She said
Oh gosh,
Urban Foster said that there's going to be some changes going forward. That does not mean a change in quarterback. He says Caleb Williams is still the guy. What changes do you think they need to make other than Eberflus being gone? What
he
you
needs to
got?
start with
The
himself.
offense is terrible.
He needs to start with himself.
So
That's what he needs to start with.
right,
So, but what I don't understand is how do you fire the offensive coordinator but don't look yourself in the mirror
yeah,
and say I'm the reason why we losing? Because if you go back to Justin Fields in Chicago, the team wasn't good because of certain reasons.
yeah.
And I said this, I've been saying this all, and people always think I'm a hater. I
You're a
don't
little
want
bit
to
of
talk
a hater
about, but I'm right all the time though.
all the time.
Ooh.
Off
That's
most
Ooh.
of the time,
bold.
Ooh.
most most of the time I'm always right.
Okay, most of the
Wow.
time I'm
But
always right.
Still stuck that in
most
there.
of the
You
time I'm
heard
always
that?
right. About
uh,
Chicago anyway.
uh,
Um,
Continue.
O line, O line is terrible.
Yeah,
You can get all the receivers you want. If you can't block, it don't matter. Defense is not that great. They're not playing great this year anyway. And coaching is horrible. So you fire the offensive coordinator, but don't look yourself in the mirror and say what I'm doing wrong. So what changes are you going to make? Because if you got the backup offensive lineman, he's probably worse than the starter.
yeah.
So what are you doing different?
I find it funny that they already fired the offensive coordinator. Um, unless he's fired, I'm with you. Unless he's fired himself, or somehow coming up with a new offensive line. I guess the only thing that's left is they can try switch it, but they're already on a bunch of backups on that offensive line already because of a bunch of injury issues. I don't see what changes they could possibly make at this point in the
That's
season.
what I'm saying. What changes are you making to make
Yeah,
the team better? Unless you're gonna trade for somebody
yeah.
at the dead. Well, if you're gonna trade for somebody or sign somebody off the street or something. But what changes are you making that's gonna make the team better than it is now?
Uh, they need better play calling, but I don't think the calling is going to be effective. Like you said, until they need to fix the team. I don't think there's changes they can make in week 11 of the
I
season.
mean, but again, okay, you fix the team, right? But you bring him back the coach. The same coach that has not been successful. He's 14-28 in three
Yeah.
years.
Well, I'm just talking the changes they're making this year. No, I'm with you. They
Ain't no
need to change the
changes.
coach, but
But what changes can they make?
I don't have the
So you
slightest
go you gonna bench
opinions.
DJ Moore?
Oh no.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Adunze did nothing this year,
Oh,
quite nothing
Donte's been he's been the best wide receiver.
earlier. But like,
Yeah.
what has he done lately?
Lately they haven't had yards.
And
They're-
maybe, and I'm gonna get to another story, but maybe,
like,
but maybe again, it's O line problems.
yeah. I mean,
So maybe if you want to say, okay, change the offensive coordinator, is that gonna help? Maybe you can put Caleb on bootlegs now, being that the offensive line is shaky. Get him on the outside to run some outside plays because if you get him going left or right, that way he has time to throw. But also, Caleb got to take some
oh
blame
yeah.
for this because Caleb has missed a lot of throws. He's missed a lot of
open
bad throws.
throws, and he's held with that offensive line. He's held the ball longer than
Way
you
too
can.
long.
Basically, everything that we said about Justin Fields a year ago
It's Caleb.
is Caleb Williams this year.
Yep.
So two quarterbacks, same problem. Maybe it's
Ooh.
coaching staff. Maybe.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right. Let's hit this comment, Carla. Did you see this is in the Minnesota game that happened this week? Cameron Bynum hit the ray gun. The from the Olympics, the famous ray gun breakdancer who, by the way, announced that she is retiring from breakdancing competitions because of she didn't say specifically, but basically all the ridicule, everyone since the Olympics have made fun of her dance. She had the Thriller dance, some crazy spin on the ground. I don't know what in the world. If you know break dancing, you know what she did was not it. But did you see the Vikings
I didn't see
touchdown?
that one.
Cam Bynum made it. on one hand, I'm like, yo, y'all need to stop. Leave this lady alone. She did the best she knew how, but at the same time, it was hilarious. So, plus Cam Bynum is on my on a few of my fantasy football teams as my IDB, my defensive player. So I didn't mind him because he was celebrating doing stuff that gives me fantasy points. So I give him a pass.
I give you that.
But still, funny nonetheless. Another story in the news before we get to some players. And by the way, thanks everybody for the questions so far. If you've got some more, hit us up with them. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes' homes were broken into over this past month. Crazy Chiefs fans that's a little too obsessed, or something more sinister. What, do you see that story?
I didn't see that, but my thing is, how does that happen?
No.
Like honestly, like think about it now. I get people breaking people's houses,
Yeah.
but when you have that much money and you know you're gonna have that big of a house, it seemed like your security would be like top notch. Like if I'm not like honestly, if I had it like that, if I'm not at the crib, I'm gonna have somebody watch the crib while I ain't home. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna have like somebody on the payroll, like some cops on the payroll or something, to watch my house on a round the clock type of basis. I'm away at a game or something, because they get robbed, and it's so much stuff in their house that's valuable to them. Yeah. It seemed like you would have that around the clock security going on. Not even just a system, a security system. I'm talking like somebody sitting outside, sitting in the back, somebody watching the house, all types of cameras. It wouldn't be that easy to get in the crib like that. It just wouldn't be. Like I would have metal doors, like some type of shut down doors where you can't get in the crib when I ain't there. Like spend the money on it, because you spend on other things, but spend the money on it. I think it's crazy, and I think it's fans that break into people's houses. They're obsessed. You can't be that crazy about the player. Yeah. Can't be.
It's insane to me because both of these, since you said you didn't read the story, both of these burglaries happened on the same day. While they were during a Monday Night Football game on October 7th, and the fact that you hit both for these houses the same night is completely insane, and it can't be just a coincidence. But one thing I would say about this that I don't like, because if you watch the news, they both recently bought houses. But if you watch the news, they actually publicized basically where their houses was. I know the public loves to know stuff, but to an extent, privacy is an issue when people know where these, because they're top NFL. They're not just random guys. These are two of the best players in the history of the NFL. Their houses are going to be nice. Publicizing their neighborhoods to the fact that you could actually find their houses on Google, that's doing too much. And so in these kind of cases, I think the media has some response to protect these people's privacy at least as much as possible.
But is it? I want to, because I know your house is public knowledge. When you buy a house, it's public knowledge where you live at or whatever. So it is public knowledge. You can find out where a person
but make them work a little bit.
Oh no, I'm not saying don't make them work. Definitely make them work. It's just public. Like if both of us have houses, and our houses are public knowledge. We're public knowledge. Yeah. So basically, So you can look up where we live, and you can see when you bought the house, how much you paid for the house. All of this public knowledge. But I just think it's crazy. But like, don't they live in gated communities?
Yeah. No, I'm looking it up now. No.
So it's not a gated community?
No, Kansas City, at least that area, doesn't have a whole lot of gated communities. There is one well-established gated community that's like way whatever. But I know that Mahomes' house that he had built, I doubt it's a gated community. It's just way out in the boondocks. And I'm looking where Kelce is. He's in Leawood. It might be gated, but not in the way you're thinking gated. Okay. In Leawood, Kansas is it's not as far out in the boonies as you would think. And apparently neither is Mahomes. He's in Belton, which isn't Yeah, so I mean, it might be gated in a sense, but it's not gated how you think gated. It's not like that. Midwest, I mean,
Okay.
I hate to say this, but Midwest mentality is, oh, we're safe because we're in the Midwest kind of thing. And they don't live in the city proper, like in Kansas City, where the crime happens, as some people would think. So you think, oh, I'm in Leawood, I'm safe. No. Oh, I'm in Belton, I'm safe. No.
Yeah. By the way, for those who don't know, our producer is originally from Kansas City, so
Yeah.
she's our expert on the region. Yeah.
Born and raised,
Okay.
people. Born and raised. So
That,
yeah,
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense now.
yeah,
'cause
it's not. Yeah, where they are. I mean, I don't know exactly where in Belton his house is and where in Leawood. I do know about Leawood. We've been in Leawood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a growing and developing area. They're building a lot of stuff out there. So, and to say that we're both hit at the same time, this sounds like an inside job to me.
Yeah.
It's very suspicious, right?
I mean, I'm not saying that fans couldn't get to the home, but both of them at the same time on the same day, that's an inside job. So even if they had security, sound like it was security who did it, or someone who knew they weren't going to be home and knew where their homes were and had access. Because I'm going to tell you this, not saying fans aren't crazy, but this doesn't make sense. This is just some random fan that just went through their house, because I feel like a lot of stuff should have been taken. If it was some crazy fan really trying to take some stuff, even though the details isn't listed here yet.
Yeah.
But this sounds like an inside job. Just my 2-cent opinion.
I see Colin saying it could be someone they know, and then I see a TikTok challenge. I hope not, because our car get broke into in Kansas City.
Yes! Oh, don't get me started on that.
Look, I see Colin talking about this is not a good commercial if they had ADT. Yeah, it's also not a good commercial for Kansas City, because not only they're celebrities, but R&J Fantasy Football Talk, we're celebrities as well. On a smaller, they probably knew where we would be parked when we were in Kansas City and stole our car. But maybe not the same people. I don't know.
No, I doubt it's the same people. No. But yeah, TikTok challenge got our car taken. Yeah. But Kansas City's not a bad place. But
it's a great place.
I'm gonna just say this: please do not, and I say this to everybody, do not think just because it's the Midwest you're gonna be uber safe, because that's not what it is. I grew up with a metal detector in my high school, people.
Yo, our insurance agent is from Oakland, and he was like,
"Oh, why do you have to tell that story? No, why are you throwing everybody under the bus? You didn't even have to say that."
It's shade night. Anyway, our insurance agent from Oakland, wow. He was telling us the first time he was in Kansas City with his friends. He was like looking around like, wow, Kansas City is hood. I felt like I was back in Oakland. And if you've been to Oakland, that place is super hood. One time I was in Oakland visiting a friend of mine. I saw dudes selling Christmas trees out of their front yard.
We ain't never sold no Christmas trees in the front yard in Kansas City.
Imagine somebody in front of your house with a whole bunch of Christmas trees. I don't know where these Christmas trees came from, but just in a regular neighborhood. Just like, yo, I got these Christmas trees. I'm like, what?
No, we ain't never sold trees. We might sell some catfish dinners out of grandma's house, but we ain't never sold no trees.
So Oakland, Kansas City, all hood to me. I don't know.
I mean, you got to think about it anywhere you live.
You've been there, really?
Hey, call a spade. But it's nice.
I'm just saying.
Kansas City.
My family's about to kick your butt out.
Yeah, I might not be invited back to Kansas City.
I mean,
nope.
Anywhere you live is gonna be.
Everyone has look. Portsmouth,
everybody has that.
Where I'm from, Portsmouth, Virginia is hood, like super hood. So, look, it happens.
Yeah.
Major places. Let's get back to some more news stories. By the way, Kansas City is a great place to live.
Whatever. Don't try to clean it up now after you done called it hood. Whatever.
Little hood.
Don't come back.
Hood adjacent.
I go by myself.
What you got?
Anthony Richardson is back at the quarterback. I think it's a good move. Flacco showed that Flacco was,
bad,
old and done. But I think it's a good move. But he said something that kind of it didn't throw me off, but it was he was like he felt he's kind of glad that he got benched for those 2 games. I don't know how to take this. I don't know if this is a confidence thing or is it a thing where he needed to sit back and learn or
Yeah.
he needed to be healthy. It could be a mixed bag of all of that. Um, I just think it's kind of strange to say though, because Bryce Young said the same thing
Yeah.
essentially.
I think as young guys just try to make the most out of this, trying to say the bet, not trying to sound bitter or trying to, they want to be team players and try to look at a positive outlook on the situation.
Yeah.
Because not in Bryce Young getting bitch was a little bit different in as much as people could point directly to why
Why? Yeah.
Anthony Richardson was benched because of him pulling himself out of that game because he was tired.
Yeah.
So I think for him, it was a very important thing to sort of say, okay, I've learned my lesson, yada, yada, yada. And I think that's kind of, I'll put words in his mouth and say that was his intent. But hopefully, he comes back. Like I say, he's set and he's learned some things and maybe
Mm-hmm.
comes back better than he was. I
I
don't know
hope
whether
so.
he learned how to be more accurate in just those 2 weeks. Probably not. But from a fantasy perspective, if you have, let's say, maybe you have a wide receiver for the Colts, are you happy to have him back?
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, not that Joe Flacco was great the last 2 weeks, but do you think it'll be a better situation going forward? You have
No.
Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, or someone like that.
I think
Alec Pierce.
you downgrade him because his thought process is not to pass first,
Mm-hmm.
especially when pressure comes around.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have quarterbacks that when the pressure comes and they're running out of the pocket, their first thought is to pass the ball. They're still looking down the field. But him is to run the ball. But the thing is, he's because most of the time when a play breaks down and a quarterback is running around for his life, most of the time receivers try to get open for that quarterback. And I don't think he looks downfield for that. I think he looks more to run the ball for his
Yeah.
own sake than anything. So
I
I,
think guys,
I don't know.
people play to their strengths, and his
Yeah,
athleticism and ability to make plays with his legs is what's gotten him to this point. So you go back to your default
yeah.
settings, and that's not just football, that's life. People go to what they know and what they're familiar with. And yeah, I'm with you. It's not like you can really downgrade Colts receivers more than they already have
Then
been.
they already are, but still,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's probably not the best. Welcome Jamal to the show.
What's up,
Haven't seen
Jamal?
you. Good to hear you. Question: just thought he was bugging when he dropped Pittman a few weeks ago. Um, nah, I can't call that bugging. I have
But let
Pittman
me
on one of my teams, sitting down on the bench with no intent at all of really ever playing him unless some sort of miracle happens. So I'm with you on that. I think Colts wide receivers are almost useless at this point.
I mean, honestly, do you move forward from Richardson in a year if
No,
it doesn't work, or do you try to play it out?
well, here's what's interesting on this story. Um, the Colts are saying that they received several phone calls uh, with interest in Anthony Richardson, and there was one. Of course, no one ever has their names on it, but there's
Mm-hmm.
one analyst who said that he talked to somebody in some organization that they thought that the benching of Anthony Richardson was a bit premature, to use their words. So I think there's still hope for him.
Okay.
He has when he came out of college, the comparison was Cam Newton because no one else had the tangibles, if you will, with his size and speed
Yeah.
and athletic ability since Cam Newton. And so, I mean, people sometimes just remember the end of Cam Newton's career, but at the beginning, those
Camp was
first
good.
years up until he went to that Super Bowl, Cam was a megastar. Anthony Richardson hasn't shown that ability yet,
Yes.
but I think that potential would keep him in the league for at least a couple more years, and I think Indianapolis gives another. I don't. If I'm Indianapolis, I don't give up on him yet because for me, they should have seen him as a project um,
Yeah.
coming out the gates. And so if you have a guy you know is a project, I think if I remember correctly, he started 13 games in college. So
Yes, he did.
you know it's going to take him a while to adjust to the game. Cam Newton, on the other hand, started several games at multiple schools, so you know he had the experience. Anthony Richardson needs to get that. So no, I don't move on. For fantasy football purposes, hopefully next year people don't have the
Him rated high
last
like
year
he was.
and even this year people had Anthony Richardson very high. So if you're in fantasy football, remember what you've seen the last 2 years. Don't just jump on the potential. I know we got Jamal, who's a big potential guy, but I doubt if he puts Anthony Richardson in that same category for potential. And so,
But do you think
careful
the third year jump is available? Well, do you think he makes that?
No,
Because it's always that third year leap that they make.
no.
Is it there for him?
No, I mean third. Well, I say this: third year leap, as in one being healthy the whole season and being better. Yes, third year leap, as in for fantasy football purposes, I have him as a top 12 quarterback, not even a little bit. I'm happy if he's top 20 quarterback in his third year. So for me, Anthony Richardson, I would have very low in my group of guys.
He said a fourth year jump. I can see a fourth year jump.
Jamal, I'm with you 100%. Fourth year, it might be. Like he's a project, and he's basically missed his entire rookie season, and due to benching or injury, he's missed a good amount of this year too. So even if he finishes the second half of the year, you can't. He's still going to be very far from having a full year of NFL experience. So until he does that,
is that like a Jordan? Do you see the Jordan Love jump? Because that's essentially what that is.
Yeah.
A Jordan Love jump, which is that fourth, fifth year where he took the leap from this quarterback to that quarterback. So
I think
I can see that.
For it. I can see it as a possibility, but the difference being Jordan Love had that opportunity in those 4 years to learn behind the scenes. Anthony Richardson's going to have to learn in the fire. Sometimes that can speed up your process. Sometimes it can derail it and slow it down. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect what I expect from Jordan Love out of Anthony Richardson in year 4.
No.
I just want to see a steady progression. And we talked earlier about Caleb Williams. All I'm looking for is a steady progression. And if I can get that from these young quarterbacks, I'm okay with that. I don't need it to be. Look, everybody's not going to be C.J. Stroud coming out the guns a blazing. Justin Herbert is another guy that you saw basically thrown in and instantly succeed. Some of these guys are going to take some time, and I think that's what you have with these ones.
Well, I think some of the time with these young guys, they get thrown to the wolves day one, which is the new NFL because they're coming out and you're paying them a lot of money. But on top of that, I think when you put them in bad coaching situations, not bad team situation, but bad coaching situation, and I really think that's playing a. He has a really good coach in Indy. Like he's a quarterback's coach, so he's good. He turned Baker Mayfield around of all people.
Put that on your resume, right?
I mean, but he did though.
Yeah, no,
he turned him around.
Hey.
He turned Baker around, but I think the thing with Caleb is not a bad quarterback. Caleb has a bad coach, and I think a lot of that is the organization's fault because they're not recognizing that he is a bad coach and not trying to make a difference in that. Because these guys coming in, they don't need a defensive-minded coach. They need an offensive-minded coach who can help them throughout the game, help them throughout the season, see something that they're not seeing on the field. And that's a lot of the issues. A defensive head coach can't help you. He can help you from a defensive perspective, but he can't help you from an offensive perspective because he's not looking at it the same way. So
we said on the show that coaches have their specialities, what they're good at, and it's hard to find a defensive guy who has a really good offensive mind. And so, yeah, if you're gonna have a defensive minded coach,
Hmm.
you need the proper assistant coaches to mold a young quarterback like you have with Caleb. I'm with you there.
I mean, unless they do what Washington's doing with their quarterback,
But
they
who
did.
did they bring in?
They bring in the
Kingsbury.
offensive minded.
Yeah,
They bring in a Kingsbury who's a offensive minded,
exactly.
but they let Kingsbury do what he want as far as this is your guy. I'm gonna let you have
Yeah,
him. I'm not gonna step in the way, and that's what you need. You don't need to kind of intervene
exactly.
on that no more. So Kingsbury is doing, but Kingsbury again, he installed stuff that would help him, not hinder him. And you gotta
Yeah,
you gotta do that with these quarterbacks coming in now because you got to play to their strengths. You can't play to
yeah,
your strengths. You got to play to their strengths because that's the only way they're gonna be successful at the end of the day. If you know they going out there confident and they running plays that they know from a
hmm
college standpoint, something they ran in college early on, late in their career in college. Hey, I've seen this before. Maybe I can tweak it a little bit and do it this way. And that's the problem. I mean, when you get thrown to the fire like that, I think Anthony Richardson he could be a good quarterback down the line, but
yeah,
it's gonna take somebody just saying, look, all right, what can we do to make you better? Maybe they need to run some read option, something like that. That play to his strengths, read option, bootlegs to the left,
hmm
bootlegs to the right, something that'll help him flourish in a game instead of. And still, you gotta coach him during a game. Hey, are you seeing this? Are you
yeah.
seeing that? If you ain't doing that, then something's wrong.
Yeah, and most of all, I think you need somebody to believe. I don't know if you saw this when the coach for the Vikings basically went to Anthony Richardson after the game and told him,
I seen
"Hey,
that.
keep your head
Yeah,
up. You're gonna be a star in this league." And that's
yeah,
another thing these young guys have. I see Jamal mentioned the Geno Smith. That's something he didn't have early in his career. But you see,
yeah.
given the time and someone giving him an opportunity to be the guy, he's been producing. So it takes a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they quick to pull the rug out on quarterbacks nowadays if you're not playing well. I mean, it's crazy. And they like the same even with Daniel Jones. They saying Daniel Jones might not take a snap no more in New
Yeah,
York,
that's crazy.
which you
But
could have seen
but
that coming a mile
yeah,
away.
I
But
know.
jeez,
Hey, they might replace him with a guy who also never really got an extended period. Drew Lock. We'll see whether that works with him. Hey, you want to hit some players?
let's go. Uh, we got Joe Barrow, amazing game, 34, 56, 428, 4 touchdown. Questionable
In a
calling.
loss.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
loss was some calling the end, but
yeah.
he played well. Brock 25 of 36, 353, 2 touchdowns, did good. Excuse me. Kirk Cousins 23 of 38, 306, did throw any touchdowns, and I want to shout out Lamar. Lamar and I was talking to somebody, and I said if Lamar don't win the MVP this year,
All right.
something is wrong because Lamar is putting up way better numbers than he has ever put up
Ever,
in both of his MVP years. So he's on pace for like 4,500 yards
which is insane.
right now, which
Yeah,
is insane. So he went 25 or 33 for 290, 4 touchdowns. They say actually he's on pace for more touchdowns this year than the MVP
yeah.
year
The first
last year.
Jimmy.
First MVP last was it the first one? Because I think
Uh,
he did
I think he.
40
Are we talking total? Because I think he
total.
had
Yeah.
like
No, I'm talking
38 the
about
first.
passing.
Yeah, passing. Okay.
Passing. He's on pace for over 34 touchdown passes this year. So, and then since we don't give Russ no love, I want to shout out Russ.
Okay.
14 for 28, 195. He had 3 touchdowns. He got him doing something. So I much love to Russ. So
You you you,
um,
you mentioned that
good.
questionable call at the end of that uh, uh, uh,
Yes.
Baltimore
Ooh,
Cincinnati game uh, with multiple penalties that could have been called on the
yes.
Ravens. Are you liking what we talking a lot today about these last playoff push that you can make with these 4 week stuff in the regular season, despite having a great game, and Jamar Chase made this point. He would have never imagined him playing as well as he's playing, and Joe Burrow playing as well as he's playing, and they're losing. Do you see any possibility of them making a push?
Well, the problem with, and I've always said this about Cincinnati, they're notorious for starting slow. And I think, I'm not saying they can't do it because I've seen Joe Burrow and them come back and they've won multiple games on a consistent basis to make the playoffs. But the problem is every other team is better now. And I don't think you can do that now because you have obviously Kansas City, you have Buffalo, you have these teams that's playing well. It's going to be hard. You got Pittsburgh, so it's going to be hard for you to catch up to that.
They're way behind.
Those slow starts is probably not going to benefit them this year because they always start slow, and that's part of their problem. They got to come out the gate a little bit faster than they do if they want to get in, stay in the playoff race because Buffalo ain't going nowhere. Kansas City ain't going nowhere. Houston ain't going nowhere. Those teams are playoff teams that's already in position to get playoff spots. Now, I hope they do because Joe Burrow, if you get him in the playoffs, Joe Burrow seems like a different quarterback. He seemed like he'll get you there, but it'll be tough, to be honest with you. In my opinion, I think it'll be tough. But that play, it was a face mask. It was a pass interference. It was a whole lot of
things.
Now, on that, the refs need to be looked at for that one because if you miss both of those calls, because you could have got the face mask and the pass interference, either one of them, and it would have been, they would have won the game, technically. So, I don't know. I think that's crazy. We got some running backs. Chuba Herbert, 28 carries, 153 and a touchdown. Just not a big deal. He good, man.
Yeah. The first couple of years you wouldn't have thought so, but he is showing himself off this year. So
he's definitely good.
Yeah.
Bijan, 20 carries, 116, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries, 114. Tyrone Taylor, 18 carries, 103 and a touchdown. He's a good rookie. Bright spot for the Giants.
Oh, Tyron Tracy, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I meant Tyron Tracy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know you meant.
But he's a bright spot for them along because I don't know what else they got going. They just need a quarterback.
Yeah,
so bad.
I mean, they have some bright spots on their defense, but but offensively, it's not a lot to.
So let me ask you this: the going rumor around is the Giants have the number 2 pick currently in the draft. The Jaguars have the number 1. So obviously, the Jaguars are not going quarterback because they got Trevor Lawrence. Do you see Shador in New York?
Well, what's interesting is Deion Sanders, by the way, bowl eligible, looking really good.
Yes, sir. Let's go Colorado. Let's go.
But he said that he is going to step in if the wrong team drafts Shador. I would probably count the Giants as the wrong team based on what a lot of the moves they've done recently. I would not be surprised if they used that pick for him because they definitely need to look at a quarterback. He's going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken out of this draft. It's just a matter of whether Papa approves because if you while we're talking rumors and such, Shador has made a point of tweeting about the Raiders constantly, like on a weekly basis. He's worked out with Tom Brady, who is now a part owner of the team, and some people are saying that's gonna be the spot. So Giants, no. Raiders, we'll see.
I'm not mad at Deion for doing this because we've seen this play out before.
Speaking of the Giants, Eli Manning.
Eli Manning did it. So
go back John Elway. So it's not the first time.
It's not the first time. So we've seen it play out. I do think it'll be scrutinized a little bit more when he does it than the other two, because he's gonna try to dictate where his sons go,
He's a
and
much uh, not like Eli Manning's father's not a high profile guy too. Archie Manning, legendary
yeah,
Saints
yeah,
quarterback. But
yeah,
Dion has an aura about him,
just the
and
aura about him,
and his
yeah.
personality seems to get a lot more attention than
Hmm.
the usual pro. There's superstars and there's super duper stars, and Deion Sanders is that dude. So yeah, I think I'm with you. It would definitely get a lot more scrutiny, but I don't think Dion really cares about
I don't
scrutiny
care,
at
but
all.
I don't think he cares either. I just think
Yeah,
if you ask me, I think New York. The only problem I don't have no problem with him going to New York because I think what Malik is a good setup for him. Malik
Malik Neighbor,
Neighbors, you
they
got
have a
the
good
running
running
back,
back. They have a good wide receiver. I
you
give you
got it.
that.
So you got the defense that's up and coming. So you have that. You have and the coach ain't bad because he turned Josh Allen. He flipped Josh Allen into something before Josh Allen was good. When he got there, he turned him around and made him a good quarterback. So I just
Stephon
don't think.
Diggs would say that was him, but
Okay. I mean, Josh Allen's still playing good now. So if you want to call it that, oh well. But I don't think he could fix the quarterback, the current quarterback there now. I just don't think he can fix it.
I don't know if Daniel Jones is
It's
fixable.
fixable. So I don't think you can fix Daniel Jones. I think Shador there as it's the lights, it's the cameras, it's New York. Can he come and live up to the hype of New York? I think he can. Now it's up to not the city of New York, but it's the organization
Yeah,
to embrace him. I think that's the biggest
that
problem.
media is, and you mentioned, uh, 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 the scrutiny that comes with Deion Sanders. That New
Yeah.
York media is unrelenting. So yeah, that could.
So I say at the number two, I say they do take him because they need a quarterback.
Mhm.
But I don't know if the Raiders are right behind him
Yeah,
at
we
three.
suck.
Say they at three. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you go get him. You kind of I ain't gonna say threaten the Giants and say don't take him, but I don't know. I think Cam Ward is he's a good quarterback, but Cam Ward remind me. I watched that Miami game this weekend.
mm-hmm.
He don't throw a lot to me.
Yeah.
He doesn't pass the ball quite a bit. He does a lot of running, and I just kind of think they need a passing
Yeah.
quarterback. Shador is a pass first quarterback for me.
100%. Atlanta Flag Football Podcast, and Dion said the organization must be solid, and agree on this second. New York is definitely not solid. The organization now, the Raiders aren't solid either.
I'm about to say that. Wait a minute now, slow down.
So
The Raiders ain't either.
let me not make us out to be all together, but the hope would be maybe with Tom Brady's presence, he can influence Mark Davis to do more level-headed stuff. But yeah, the Giants has been look. They let go of Saquon. Um, it's working out with the running back they drafted
Yeah, it is.
for the most part. But yeah, it would be hard to say New York has made a lot of good decisions as of late. So yeah,
I mean, what do you see him going though? Like you think about it, if you all the teams that will possibly be
no,
drafting up top, hell, unless you're thinking about Carolina, right? I'm just saying they're gonna be
yeah,
there.
I hear you.
If you're
I hear
thinking
you.
about if you're thinking about Carolina, do
I
they
don't. I
say
don't think that.
Bryce?
I don't think that organization passes too much. It's like I said. For what, love him or hate what Deion Sanders is, he is a confident guy and he knows his stuff. And I think he's going to try to make sure his son's in the best possible place. The bad part is because they're these other teams that's drafting high, they're not the best places, right? If you
But
were a good organization, you're probably not picking at the top of the draft unless you trade it to get there. And so all the teams I could think of that are going to be in a position to draft them probably aren't great top to bottom. But
hmm
I think the relationship of with that Dion has with Tom Brady is probably the best uh, thing you can say for that. And I don't even know whether the Raiders are going to make that move themselves. But I will say, unlike last draft, the Raiders will not be outdone and have their quarterback taken from under their nose this year.
Yeah,
They
that was
think
kind of crazy.
they do everything they can. Um, uh, Atlanta coming in again saying he believes it would be the Raiders in Las Vegas. Yep, close to Colorado as well. So, yeah.
I mean, I can see that, but I feel like y'all would.
If you ask me the favorite, I would say it's Las Vegas. Um, but I don't know if I don't expect the Raiders to have the number one pick as bad as we are. So it'll be up to I guess the teams in front.
It's
to
the
decide what they want
It's
to
the
do.
Jaguars right now.
Yeah, right now. But
Yeah, it's Jaguars right now.
hey,
So the Jaguars,
there's a
and
lot
they
of
going.
look. There's a lot of weeks left for the Raiders to be really bad. So who knows?
I mean, the Jaguars thing will be bad regardless too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
True.
if it ended today, I would just say the Raiders do look like a good fit, but I just don't. They would have y'all need more pieces like to add to him, and like it would be great if y'all had like a back-to-back pick somewhere where y'all can grab him, which is wishful thinking, but to grab him and Travis Hunter and just bring that. But that's probably.
I don't think the NFL is going to allow that.
Why not?
Because someone's going to jump in and say no. I'm going to make sure I get a pick in. But hey, anything can happen. Wide receivers?
Oh, Jamar Chase. Do we need to talk about anybody? Do we need to talk about anybody?
We mentioned Joe Burrow at the top and Jamar Chase as well. I mentioned I was 3-9. I had several teams that played Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, or some combination thereof, and it was an ugly, ugly scene if you played against those guys.
I mean, Jamar Chase, you can't really talk about nobody else, but Jamar Chase had 11 receptions, 264.
Killed it.
3 touchdowns. I mean, the man was crazy. He did pair numbers. Like, everybody else is an afterthought at that point. So, and
since
the crazy part is, I played Chase in one league, and I only lost by like 20 points.
Okay.
Which is insane. He put up 85 points.
Yeah.
I lost by like 20 or something like that. I was like, bro, like, I still could have won, and he put up 85 points. I said, that's insane.
Yeah, I played in this 2-quarterback league, by the way, that I mentioned Rodney's a Judas in. I played against a guy who had Joe Burrow catch this 146 points. It's a crazy league with crazy points. I know you say everyone else is an afterthought, but let me throw out love to 2 wide receivers that did a lot of work and helped absolutely no one in fantasy football this week. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who is found out this week is playing for the Saints. He played for the Raiders last year, won the Super Bowl, went to Buffalo, made a lot of noise about, I'm on this team.
Wait, who'd you say he won the Super Bowl? Hold on.
Got dropped from that team because he honestly sucks. But he had a great week with the Saints. He had 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's rostered in like 10% of ESPN leagues. And I think the number was even lower when I looked at Yahoo. But a great game, helping no one. Probably the best game he'll have this year.
Helping no one.
And then I say Tylan Wallace for Baltimore. I said before, it's hard to know who you can rely on other than Zay Flowers. But, hey, this week it was Tylan Wallace who had 115 yards. 1 touchdown, helping even less. He's not even rostered in 1% of leagues. In fact, I think ESPN is like less than 0.5% of people have. So, other than if these players play fantasy football or their families do, they're the only people who had it. And even if I could be his brother, if I had him on my team, he would still be on my bench. So he's helping no one. But, hey, they deserve a shout on RJ Fantasy Football Talk, even though absolutely useless for fantasy stats.
I think you said the wrong team when you said Scantling. Sound like you said the Raiders or the Ravens.
No, it's Val Scantling. He played for the Chiefs, and then went to the Bills. If
There
I
you
said
go.
that
Yeah,
correctly.
he
Yeah,
got
so
cut. He got
yeah,
cut
he
from the
got cut
Bills
from
and
the
then went to the
Bills.
Raiders.
And looking at those Bills wide receivers, if you got cut from that team with those wide receivers, this was way
Yeah, you
before
tell him.
Amari Cooper, then you're not that good. Um, I see. Going back to other conversation uh, um,
Travis Hunter.
About Shador Sanders. Travis Hunter is going to be the number one pick overall anyway. Yeah, he should be. He's
I
going to be
mean,
something special. Do you think he
oh, he's gonna be
plays
now. Is
two
he playing?
ways in
How about I should say
NFL?
question? Is he playing offense or defense?
I think you're crazy to not put him primarily on defense. Um, but you're also crazy if you don't draw up a couple of plays, you know what I'm saying, in your offense to get him the ball. I don't let him do a fit. I don't have him taking as many snaps on offense and defense in the NFL. Um, I have him primarily as
Oh
a defensive
no,
player, but
I think
I work in some plays. Yeah.
he's a definitely a. If you had to say which one was better, he's a better cornerback than
Mm.
wide receiver. But I think if he really just told himself, I just want to be a receiver, that's it. He a top receiver, bro. Easy.
Oh yeah, I
Because
agree.
he
But
has the
I
mindset.
don't think he's the top wide receiver in this draft. I
Who
think
is?
he's certainly the top defensive. Well, yeah, I would say he's gonna be. Oh, I'm making a mess. I'm gonna say he's definitely gonna be higher rated on defensive boards, draft boards, than he is at the on the offensive end, and so that's where I have him most of the time. And
See, I like
yeah,
I see I like what
yeah,
he thinking. See, I'm thinking
the checks.
receiver just because it's more
It's more
money
money.
in receiving than it is cornerbacks. Um, I
There
just
is.
feel like he would be an excellent receiver in the league
Yeah.
because he's a he has the mindset of a corner, so he can tell you the breakdowns of where the corners would possibly go on a route because he does it on the opposite end when he plays corner to the receivers. So I think being a receiver, because if you watch him, he can
Yeah.
run routes.
Yeah.
He gets out of his breaks really good. So it's not like he can't be a receiver, a top receiver in the league.
Okay.
Um, I would say receiver, honestly. For me, cornerback, money wise, yeah, it's definitely receiver, bro. That's what I would go because he gonna go top because he'll go to a team that
Yeah.
needs a receiver.
I mean,
So
right
I'm saying
now,
receiver.
like I said, like now, you said the number one team is
Receiver
Jacksonville. They
Jacksonville
could use a wide receiver,
right
certainly.
at this moment. Now, if you want to sprinkle him in on defense every now and then, I would do it. But he's an athlete. He's not. He doesn't play one position,
And,
and that's how you
and
should
I
label.
think that's what his agent will make the point of in this. Yes, there's more money at wide receiver, certainly, but I think the argument would be going back to a while back, different position altogether. The tight end for the Saints, Jimmy Graham.
Take
They
Jimmy
wanted,
Graham, yeah,
yeah, they wanted to label him as a tight end, but he was like, "Yo, I'm more than a tight end. I'm
he's
a
an
wide
athlete.
receiver."
Yeah,
And I think Travis Hunter would be able to make a very similar argument. That when what you get from me is a football player. I'm not a defensive back. I'm not a wide receiver. I'm a football
he's an
player,
athlete.
and
Yeah,
he's an
I
athlete.
just
Yeah. So
I,
we'll see. We'll see where I know Travis Hunter is going to be one of the top, no matter whether you're drafting wide receivers or running backs. Um, I think he has a very Deion Sanders like trajectory. Deion Sanders played both ways, but what was he
yeah,
primarily? Because
he's a
the
cornerback.
biggest thing on a lot of these defensive back is they can cover well, shut guys down, but they don't have hands. You have a defensive back who, like you said, is a wide receiver.
Yeah.
you're gonna be messed up throwing his direction. And a good cornerback next to quarterback. The cornerback is
That's the
the
cornerstone of your
toughest
team.
position. It's the cornerstone, like I said, of your team. And that if you want to be good in the NFL, you don't just need a good quarterback. You do need on defense a good cornerback, and he's gonna be that.
Well, do you think he could take down? Because Dion, he pretty much shut down one side of the field.
Yeah.
Do you think he can get to that point of shutting down one side of the field?
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna have any problem transitioning to doing what he does in the NFL like he does in college.
That's gonna be. I can't wait to see it personally because I think he's gonna be super special. I think Shador's gonna be super special.
Yeah.
I even think Shallow is gonna be good because he's a really good, strong. Well, I think he play free safety. He's a really good free safety. He makes. I ain't gonna say he makes bonehead decisions at times, but he does plays that are not. He's not really thinking fully. So he'll hit somebody unexpectedly for no reason. But I think Dion will be proud that night because all of them are gonna get drafted. But one guy that really nobody talks about on Colorado is Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn is really he might be faster than Travis Hunter. He is fast as crap, and he's a really good receiver. So he's going to be the one that a lot of people don't even think about, but he should get drafted. I don't know if he's going to get drafted, but he should get drafted. Jimmy Horn is definitely somebody to look out for. So, yeah.
So already, it looks like you're doing your scouting reports for your dynasty squad.
Don't say that too loud, man.
Hey, I mean,
come on, man.
You playing dynasty. It's sort of assumed you're gonna be doing your thing. Yeah. They know. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Did you have any tight ends that need any love for the night?
Nah, they had no tight ends.
Well, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, they were good.
Man, they were good.
Nobody hit the 100 mark, but they were above 50. They got a touchdown, and if you do that, it's worth it.
It's worth it. But not really.
All right,
so, that's it.
What about games going into this week? We mentioned at the top of the show, not this that you're Judas and you're working to make my life difficult with my 0-11
I'm trying to
team.
Making
trades. But do you have any advice for people with maybe slightly losing records? Where do you draw the line of you're out in the 10 games? What record do you say you still have a shot at making the playoffs, even if you've been losing to this point? Like me, 0-10, I'm out definitely. My season's over. I'm just trying to ruin somebody else's season.
I would
What's
say
the line for potential playoff contention?
I would say because I've seen people make the playoffs at like a 5-8. It depends on the league though.
Yeah.
Because if your league is structured to where points matter, and you're able to get in that last spot at a 6-7 record or a 7-6 record somewhere around there, I would say 8 games because I think 8 games is like the cutoff. Unless like you got the points and you somehow, some way can kind of squeak in there with 8 losses, but points kind of does matter. Like in our league, points matter, and right now we got somebody sitting at like 4-6, and they're still in the playoff hunt. They're like in the 6th seed, right? I mean, 6th place right now. So, it's possible, but I think 8 losses is probably the cutoff. Honestly, for me, 8 losses.
So, for 14, so you'd be 6-8, sliding in probably at the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I made it to a championship game with a losing record.
Yeah, of course.
If you can hit a stride near the end, like we said at the top of the show, there's still a chance for you. Just make sure the trade deadline is this week, and that's what
Hey,
got Rodney the Judas moniker for the night.
if you
Um,
ain't trading, you
but
ain't
if you're not trading,
trying,
you're not
man.
trying. So trades, waiver wires are going to probably be tough these last because by now the good
Bro,
players
ain't
should be
nothing
on a
out there,
team.
bro.
It's the pickings get slim at this time of year unless there's
Yeah.
some sort of injury. But hopefully, I think the best thing you can hope for is that you have a player that maybe like a Nico Collins is coming back from an injury, or you had a
Hmm.
TJ Hawkinson. So you have something internal that can give you a boost towards the end of the season. So these last 4 weeks. So if that's you, don't give up. Hopefully you can pull off something. I'm gonna try to do that in a couple of leagues where I'm like
I
right
say
on the
this: if you
cusp.
got 6 losses right now, 6, 7 losses,
Mm-hmm.
well, say 6, and don't just make a trade to survive this one week. If you gotta play with somebody lesser than you want to, or you gotta play with nobody at a certain position,
Mm-hmm.
don't make the other team stronger. If if do anything, don't do that. Just I would say take the L and try to survive and just go forward till you get your guy back next week.
Yeah.
Try to because a lot of people don't understand. They're moving by weeks to weeks. 10, 11, 12, 14. So it's like now people still big name guys are going on buys this week. And you may need that guy, but don't sacrifice your whole team trying to make that push because that's what that guy did today.
Yeah. The one you conspired with and colluded with
I don't know
in
what you're
order to
talking
sail
about.
me down the
I
river.
didn't collude. No, I didn't. You sold your own stuff down because you lost 10 games. I had nothing to do with that.
Yo, you got any good games you're looking for? We mentioned the Bills and the Chiefs at the top of the show. That should be a good one. Any other ones you're really looking for? How about your team? Y'all pulled off a good one last week.
Play
You got
Seattle this week.
the Seattle for the division,
I'm
maybe. What do you
I'm
think?
looking forward to that one. I want to see how we play against the good team, semi good team, because we've been struggling against semi good teams. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to see how we play against them. But yeah, we'll see. But that Chiefs game is what I'm really looking for because
Yeah.
that's always a barn burner with those two teams. And Josh Allen seems to play like his best against the Chiefs all the time. So never ends
Look,
up winning.
except for in the
But
playoffs.
yeah, in the playoffs, I don't know what happens in the playoffs with Josh Allen. He just seemed like he
Mahomes
forget
be
how to play
Mahomes
football.
and
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
that is
funny.
true.
yeah.
Yeah, the Eagles games too. The Eagles
Oh,
in the Washington game.
Thursday
Yeah,
night.
that's a good
That
game.
should be a really good one.
Well, can we expect another good Thursday night game? Because we've been getting some good Thursday night games lately.
We were talking. Sydney and I were talking about that recently. It's like Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. If y'all don't know, super duper rich dude. Like he must have talked to the NFL and said, "I'm not gonna pay all this money for the garbage games that I had
That
last
y'all
year."
keep
Because
giving me.
Thursday night has been like the best night of football this season.
Yes.
I think Jamal talked about that Eagles Commanders game too. I mean, yo, they've
Yeah.
been having some great ones. It's gonna be hard to beat last Thursday night's game, but I think these are two potential teams that could give it a run for its
They
money.
could do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we gonna definitely see. So I'm gonna be tuning in, watching that one. So we gonna see.
yeah,
Hopefully, they can get back on track. But Philly look like they playing better,
yeah. There
obviously.
was a
Yeah.
moment
So,
this season when it looked like Philly was just gonna be the continuation of last year's
yeah.
atrocity, but yo, they're looking
Like they
tough.
playing better.
Yo, I mean the Cowboys aren't great, but they put a hurting on the Cowboys to the point that they even put Kenny Pickett in the
Yeah.
game. So you know it's pretty bad when you put Kenny Pickett out on the field. So I think the
Well,
Eagles are
they didn't
gonna.
play down to their competition, so
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
So, but
All
that's
right,
all I got.
that's it. So thanks everybody once again. We appreciate you being part of the show. Hopefully you all have a chance to make the playoffs. I will in a few of my leagues. Unfortunately, not the great majority of them. And I won't put it all on Rodney, just so y'all know
Yeah.
now that we're in it. He's not really Judas, but you know,
He
he's
just mad
he.
because
are mad
My
at him
team.
today.
He just mad because my team in that league is
I don't
like
care about your team. I care
great.
about. Look, I told.
And
I said it in the elite chat. I'm just trying to win a game. You know what I'm
he
saying?
is.
Just
In
one
fact,
game.
see, I'm not gonna put his business out there, but what he put in the chat, he tried to say, condemn the trade and do all this other. I just want one win and all.
Yes.
Hey, we get it, but everybody tell you go 0-10, man. I'm just saying.
That league is quarterback driven, and I just leave it at this. I chose really bad quarterbacks, based off what I expected, and expectations. Well,
didn't go right.
They're worthless.
I get it.
they're completely worthless. So
But he didn't tell y'all we was trying to work out a trade too, so I can't be that bad.
You're all right. I keep you around.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I was thinking about ending R&J, letting this be our last
night.
But I'm willing to look past your flaws and keep the audience at the top. I won't be selfish and think of myself like certain people I know on this show.
Well, first of all,
I think of the audience, and we'll try to keep things going for you, not for him.
First of all, it's kind of hard to get rid of me when we are in tons of leagues and we talk all the time. It's kind of hard. It's like. It's way too hard. I just you know that. Just know that.
Hard, but not impossible. We can make it work.
It's impossible. It's impossible to get rid of me because it's
me and the producer. We're gonna start our own show. We're gonna talk fantasy hockey because it might be the only thing I'm good at this year. And of course, our producer is still number one in that league, by the way. So
I don't know how that happened.
That's gonna be it. So everyone that watches football, y'all gonna have to become hockey fans, and maybe we'll have you on as a guest every once in a while and talk about football
because I don't know anything about hockey.
No,
we'll talk football, but I'm good at what I
talk football and other random things. But, RJ for life. So.
Until he gets mad again and wants to be petty.
Look, until I end the season without a win, then I'm coming for you. So.
Yeah.
Well, I told you. If I win in there, I'm gonna win a trophy every Wednesday night next year.
Oh Lord.
Wednesday.
So for
every Wednesday night.
For our own mental sanity, we're gonna all have to root for whoever you play. So. But
just let you know that trophy, I'm gonna just put it up just like this every time and say, "Here we go."
Oh, so that goes back to did you hear that? That goes back to something that happened a long time ago. See how he said he gonna flash the trophy
about you saying that you're not petty. I think.
Who, me? I'm not petty. Not me. I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna. Hey.
Meaningless.
Meaningless thing. You see that?
I'm just flashing bling for flashing bling.
That's all I'm doing here. You see the ring, Jay? Yeah, you see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, go on and keep throwing your shade over there because I already see how this is going to go down.
Yeah, because don't let me win those rings because they sitting upstairs. If I get two of them, I'm going to wear them on each. Oh, gosh. It's going to be bad. It is going to be so bad. Lord.
Wait, you know what? I have a counter, not me, for the one over here. I got a counter for you. I ain't gonna discuss it now. We'll discuss that later.
Oh no, am I in trouble?
No.
Find out next week on RJ Football Talk.
No, you're not in trouble. I just got an idea.
Okay.
Oh God.
I just got an idea. No, you're not in trouble. Not at all. I just have an idea.
All right. If I end up getting fired over the week, then we'll know that I did something wrong. But hopefully it's all good. R&J Fantasy Football Talk live Wednesday nights. Join us back next week, y'all. It's been great having you all see the Admirals about to be on TV. So good for that. That's the local hockey team in Hampton Roads. So, everybody, let us know how your weeks go. We look forward to having you back. Hopefully you can get some wins. And we'll be back here again every week. If it's Wednesday night, it's R&J Fantasy Football Talk. That's it.
That's it.
Peace out, everybody. Later.